Hey Colin.
Nice.
Hey, welcome
To Accessible Board Gaming.
Good to talk again, Colin. Excited. Today we've got another game.
Yeah.
I got this one over Christmas, so pretty keen to play it through with you and talk about it with the fans.
Yeah. One of the best things about Christmas is getting fresh board games handed out because they're kind of a gift for everyone. Whoever gets it, everyone else who's playing is winning.
Exactly. So I went to a friend's, kind of like a little a simple gift exchange, kind of a couple of them, and they got us something which I haven't played before, but the name is recognizable. Monopoly deal version. Play in 15 minutes, the opposite of the 15 hours that the usual Monopoly will take. So
Yeah, it's a bold claim, 15 minutes.
I feel like we don't even need to bother talking about much for Monopoly, but I think everybody knows you move around the board with your piece, collecting properties. Monopoly Deal. It actually retains a lot of the feel of Monopoly. You have the same properties. So this is Monopoly for the UK. So you've got the Mayfair properties, Old Kent Road. You've got the stations and the utility companies. You don't have any of the free parking, jail, all that kind of stuff. But what you do have is a really interactive, fast-paced, 2 to 5 player, two player, which is outstanding, to 5 player, quick 15-minute game for Monopoly Deal. And I'd love to just talk through now, and maybe we can have a quick game on camera. So the way it's done is actually really, really smart. It's very interactive. There is no way to...
They just threw away the board.
They threw away the board. There's no interaction with each other's hands. So you kind of have you've got cards in your hand. You each draw some cards at the beginning of your turn. You will play up to 3 moves in a turn, and then you'll pass the turn. And everyone gets to do that. To help with everyone, they have this little handy quick reference card, which gives you some of the tips and rules, as well as the turn setup. So I always hand out all of these to the individual players. Obviously, however many players you have, you would hand one out. So we would pass that there. We can play just 2 players. So I think Colin and I will play with just 2. And I'll explain the rules briefly, and then we'll just kick off. We'll show how the game works. And I think it is a really fun and interactive one. So we have a few types of cards. So first of all, the obvious. You're buying properties.
Mm-hmm. Old Kent Road, classic.
The classic first property. So we
And they kept the same feel, like, because Old Kent Road on the classic Monopoly obviously is one of the earliest ones, so it's cheap, it doesn't have much, right? Same
agreed.
thing here,
it's the same color. It is also one of only 2 set. Where it says properties 2, the complete set is only 2. Whereas some properties, some of you, the more experienced Monopoly people might remember the oranges, excellent set.
Best in the game.
The best in the game. There's 3 to complete the set. The 3 are Vine Street,
Marlborough.
and
I forgot.
Bow Street.
Bow
Okay, but
Street.
good,
How could I forget
good,
Bow?
the classic. But anyway, so we've got, so you can see the number there. And why do I mention that? Because the aim of the game is to collect 3 full sets, any color, providing they're not the same.
But
But
it
you
sets
need
the number that you see here, right?
Exactly.
So 2 to make a set of Old Kent Road, but 3 for Vine Street and 3 for the pale blue Euston Road set.
Correct. So how does that work when there's Vine Street, Bow Street, Marble Street hidden in an enormous pack of cards? They've also got some additional ones which might be what they call wild properties. And this one is fairly obvious.
Love a good
Either
wild card.
you could play it as the purple,
Yep.
or I guess pink in the real game, or orange. And this means it helps you with identifying or with closing your set. So the whole aim of the game is to rush to get 3 sets as quickly as possible, and it doesn't then tend to take that long, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and you can close the game
And
out.
how do you have to pay for them like in the old one, or?
So great question, Colin. So let's break down what's on here. At the top we see 2M or 2 million monies, whatever you want to call it.
Nice. 2 million.
2 million, we can call it 2 million, 2 monies, whatever. The price here is actually not relevant. You play your properties irrespective of the cost. So if it's my turn, I can play this property, I don't know who's in the camera, play this property in front of me without having to pay this. The relevance of this is when I charge rent to somebody. Let's say Colin only has this in front of him. He doesn't have any amount of money in his bank, and he only has this property, and I say everyone has to give me 2 million. He is forced to give me his properties to the value of what I have required.
Okay.
So if he had, for example, these properties in front of him, and I say, Colin, I need 3 million, he would have to choose one of his 1s and his 2 to give me the 3.
Okay.
And to add to that, you say, well, hang on, well, why not just use money? Because oops, that's an action card, too far. We may not have any money in the bank. We can, however, place money into our bank for our turn. So let's just give a simple example for the turns to Colin. Let's say this is in your hand, this is in your hand, and this one is in your hand. So Colin has nothing in front of him. For his turn, he decides to play three. He's got three movement actions, if you like. First one he plays is a property, very good. Next one he plays the property, very good. And to help defend his properties from getting lost, he has some money in the bank. If I say to him, on my turn, I play a rental card and I say, you need to pay me 1 rent, he can choose to pay it out of this, but more likely he will use his bank. So there's 3 types of cards. We'll get to the last one in just a second. We have properties and we have money. And the last one we have really is an action card. And an action card is, as it sounds, an action happens. So in this case, I might play this card here, and I say, it is your birthday. All players give me 2 million. So in this case, with Colin's base in front of him, he would have to give me 1 from his bank, and he would have to give me the rest.
Oh no.
Which he could do this. And let's say he didn't want to lose Old Kent Road. It's too important because he's got the brown in his hand and he wants to fit. He might choose instead to pay it with the vine. He's allowed to pay it with the value here without using his money, but ultimately he needs to pay me until he's got the value here.
Yeah.
And then if I don't want to play this as the action, I may choose instead to place it in my bank account and have the money that it's listed here, and it becomes just currency. It no longer does its action. The same way Colin played his 1, I can play my 2.
Like, say I hadn't got any properties in front of me, I just have my 1, right? You might want to put that in the bank rather than get 2 for me.
Exactly.
Because I don't have 2, he would only get 1.
Great example. So this one I choose to ignore the fact it's an action and play this here. And then when Colin in future wants me to give him money, for example, I give him this 2, it counts as 2, it's not an action. So it loses its action status. Finally, once we have some other cards to look at, let's see, we've got the monies, we've got the actions, let's start.
Do they have like houses and hotels like in the old game?
Great question. It is an action card for the house, and Colin, of course, knowing that let's just look at it, it's a great one. Colin might have a full set, so let's give Colin a full set of browns. Colin, I think you had the brown somewhere.
Oh, I do.
So if Colin has
2
these,
to get a set of these ones.
so if this is in Colin's hand, he may play for one of his action moves, he can play that as a perfectly reasonable placement of the card.
So you place on any of your completed property sets and you add 3 million to the rent.
Absolutely. Then once he's got a house, for those who know Monopoly will probably remember you can't build a hotel until you have a house, but once you have the house, Colin, you may place.
My next move is to hotel up.
So now suddenly what was charging 2 million for your rent because you had the complete set now charges +3 +4. So now we're getting 9 for what would otherwise have been 2, and that's a massive increase.
That's a big rent.
Okay. There are some nuances in the game. For example, if you have to pay me and you break up this to pay me, these will sit here separately until you then rebuild it and then they get put back.
Okay.
Okay, so and all of that is some nuances. There's a great website online, I think it's called monopolydealrules.com, which actually gives you some of the more nuanced rules, because the rules book is a very, let's say, travel friendly, very short book.
So there's certain situations that don't get covered well in there. Okay.
Exactly. So that's the whole game. Some of the nuances here where it says on your turn you draw 2 cards, then you do up to 3 things, which could be adding money to your bank, adding properties, or playing action cards, any number of the 3 above. So you can play 3 cards into your bank and that would be your 3 turns. And also, if you have at the beginning of your turn no cards in your hand, it occasionally happens, you get to draw 5 instead of 2. Finally, at the end of your turn, if you have more than 7, you must discard down to 7.
Okay.
That's the game. Colin, let's give it a go.
Let's do it. I mean, sounds nice and simple.
Nice and simple. So that is the whole game. I mean, I really enjoy this. It's much quicker than Monopoly. Really interactive. Anyone can give it a go, and I think there's far less on the kind of the needing to do deals, which I think we've talked about in the past. But let's give it a go. And then, Colin, keen to hear your thoughts on this as well. I know it's something you've played a little bit in the past as well.
I do like the point you made about no deals. Deals often annoy me a lot in the whole game. I feel like with old Monopoly, it's bittersweet to me in that most people, when they were young, would have played Monopoly, right? But it's actually not a great entry into board games. Now, you can think of like a dozen better first-time games that are going to give people a better experience. But most people's first experience of board gaming is the classic Monopoly.
And the reason I don't like it so much is there's kind of not really much skill involved at all. Very, very roll and see what happens kind of game.
Yeah, there's a few like, hard-nosed business decisions.
There are, and interactions and negotiations for sure. But ultimately, it's mostly about rolling. It doesn't matter how good you are if you don't roll the right dice. Sure. So how does it work? You start with 5 cards in your hand, and then you
Yeah.
draw 2. 1 and 2. Over to you, Colin.
Okay, so now I have my 2 cards. I have 3 actions
So I
that
think
I
we-
can play.
And this is the draw pile, and then once you play stuff, you put it in the discard pile here, and then in front of us we will play what's there. So one move Colin plays is money.
So I put that in that bank. So that's my banking section over here. That gives me 3. I will play a property. So I'll take Pentonville Road. Don't have too much else worth doing, I'm afraid. So I will hold my 3rd action.
Great point. You don't need to play all your 3 actions. You play up to 3. You can actually pass the whole turn, no problem. But obviously, if you get more than 7, you're discarding. You can't store your cards. So I'll start my go. I draw 2. I will play 1 in the bank money as well, cash money, so that I'm safe. I'll play another cash money, so I'm safe.
Oh my god!
Just don't want to be taken advantage of. And then I will also play one of the blues. So we'll be competing for the light blues. And done my turn. So that's 1, 2, 3. Over to you, Colin.
Okay, so I'll start with picking my cards and not showing
Not sharing them to the screen.
I'll show the screen, but I don't want to show you.
Okay.
Okay, first go off the rank. I will use an action and put it in my discard pile over here to draw 2 more cards.
Great card.
So I get anything good.
Now, if Colin
my
decided,
gosh.
Colin decided he didn't want to draw 2, he could have played this for this value into his bank account, and he would have now had an extra 1. But to be honest, it's an amazing
Only
card,
one, yeah.
and it's only 1, so I would suggest normally probably playing that draw 2.
So next up, I'm going to.
Oh!
10 big
We should
monies.
note there's no change in a Monopoly deal. So if I say, Colin, you need to pay me 5, and he can't afford to pay it off with the 3 and the 1, he has to give me the full 10 and doesn't get any change back in return. Also, there is no bankruptcy. If I say, Colin, he's got lots, but if I say you have to pay me 30 for whatever reason, he pays you what he can, and then that's it. There's no forfeiture of the game like there isn't, if you like, original Monopoly. There's nothing like that.
So what I'm going to do after that is put some loose change in my bank account. Because what's interesting, and we may not have mentioned before, is just when you have this action card for rent, it stipulates which colours you can rent from.
Maybe show it to the camera if it's not clear from there. It's a great point, yeah.
So as you'll see there, it can be either orange or purple I can charge rent from. So I couldn't charge rent using this card from my blue because it's not stipulated.
So he may as well play it to get himself some money. That is now no longer an action card. That is as good as currency, and it's just 1 sitting there. And that
Loose
helps
change.
defend him from losing his 10.
Yep.
All done? Was that 3?
All done.
So I draw 2 at the beginning of my turn. Okay, so I have a bunch of very interesting choices to play. I will start by playing my additional cards to draw, just to see what I get. 1, then I play Vine Street for 2. Excellent.
As we
card.
mentioned before, excellent streets.
Excellent.
Don't know if that's so true in Deal Monopoly.
Not so true, but it is slightly better in that you get a little bit more for the rental when you see up here 3 and 5.
And they're worth a bit more money too.
And they're worth a bit more money, but yes, it's not quite the same as the original, where they're essentially the best card in the game. So that's 2 turns, and 3rd turn is I will play, just because I can, 1 more draw. Over to you, Colin.
Okay, let's draw some cards. I feel like the really expensive streets, like the greens and the blues, are suddenly more valuable when they were kind of a red herring in the old one.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Because we don't spend, and it wasn't clear, but it seems to me, and people feel free to overrule me, but I don't think, you actually have to pay for the value of your properties when you play it, because the rules don't stipulate that at all. But go ahead, Colin, over to you.
Okay, I'm going to
Cash money?
increase my bank even more. I have a very loaded bank with very few properties. So it's 1 action. 2 actions. I'm going to play Northumberland Avenue.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe let's just little space so we don't overlap our properties.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
And then I will. This is the interesting aspect of this. I said how I don't like deals. I like how in this game you can force people to deal with you. So I'm going to force a swap
Okay.
of cards.
Which one do you like?
I'm going to take my blue.
Okay, and I guess you're going to
Purple.
give me your blue.
No, that
give
would
me
be
the purple.
foolish.
Yes.
So
So then
now
Colin
I'm
is
1 closer to my.
on his way to his set. Very nice. Very nice. Is that your full 3 turns?
Yep, I believe so.
So I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by, as always, drawing 2. I will play. Oh, lots of stuff going on here. Lots of stuff. Very exciting. So I think first things first is I will play my wild property. Now it's fun. I have an interesting choice here where I could put it as the purple or the yellow or the orange. Sorry, and the orange is a higher value, so I'll place it on the orange.
Okay.
Also to note, and I've checked this out, this isn't in the original rules, but it is on the Monopoly Deal rules online. It tells you that you may change your wild property. So if it's this time it's orange, I may choose in future, in my turn, to change it to a different...
yeah, or if I like stole the orange from you.
Exactly, right. So let's say you forced me to steal the orange, then I may as well change it. But that's something to be aware of. So that's one move. Second move is, Colin, I would like to charge rent. I choose one of these colours. Now normally this is better because it says all players, but there's only 2. I'm going to choose orange because I get more, and I have 2, so I'm going to get 3, please.
All right, there you go.
3. Not a big deal, but it helps to strengthen my bank account and chill out
money.
this ridiculous bank account
Money
over
is money.
here. Finally, I will play my terrible, usually terrible, but in this case really great, electric company. Because in this case, you only need 2 to complete the set. So it's actually pretty good. But in the game, as you all probably know, Waterworks, Electric Company, not a strong combo. Colin,
Yeah, and you can't put houses and hotels on it.
Exactly.
It's a bit of a bummer.
That's true in this game as well. Thank you for referencing that. In this game, you may place them on properties except for this, and as the original one, the stations.
Okay, so taking my cards, I'm going to play one of these guys. Let's move this up here a bit. So I got a red, so that's 1 action. What to go for next?
There is no shame in conceding.
Add more to my bank, add another 1 in.
Very good.
And then I'm going to stop there.
A little reference actually, which is great that you said this. This one, kind of a little confusing the first time we played because the colour's slightly off, but actually this one refers to the electric company. There's another one that's darker, slightly darker green, that refers to what you might all know as Bond Street, Regent Street and Oxford Street. But to just be aware, this one isn't the same green as those. Okay, done.
Great streets, by the way.
Great
If
streets.
If you ever go to London, go check out the
Definitely worth
green
going
streets.
to. Definitely worth going to. Okay, but then again, so it's like Park Lane and Mayfair. It's fun to wander around and have a look at these magnificent ancient buildings, but not necessarily something you can afford to buy outright nowadays.
Even for a few million.
Even for a few million, yes. Okay, so remember the aim is to get 3.
You might be able to do a few million monies. I don't know what the exchange rate between money and
That's
pounds
true.
are.
Yeah, maybe one money is £1 billion. Okay. The aim of the game, remember, is to get 3 completed sets of different colours. So if I get 2 more purples, 1 more orange and 1 electric company, I win. And Colin at the moment is 1 more of these and then 2 more sets as well. So we're all still quite far away, but the game can swing quite rapidly, which is quite fun. So for example, I can use 1, 2, and it's a wild property that is a brown. So that's 2. And then if I say, that's enough there. I will then place, there's not really too much else to do, so I think I'll just place some money in my bank account. 3. Colin, over to you.
Quick question: if you wanted to change these up, right? So say you want to change them up, is that an action?
I don't think so. It doesn't. Again, this is not in the rules. I would say it's not an action because it doesn't specifically state that. So I will say. House rule is no, it's not. So if you have, I'm guessing you're going to try and steal it, which if that's the case, I would say you can steal it, and as you're stealing it, you can change it to what you want.
Okay.
But of course, it's an unacceptable behaviour, poor form if you do.
So I'm going to use an action card, which is a deal breaker. Steal a complete property set, including any buildings from a player and place in front of you. I'm going to steal these guys over here. And then I'm going to switch this over to these guys.
Okay.
To make a set over there. Then I'm going to rent. I'm not gonna rent. I'm gonna house up.
House up, nice. Okay.
it's
So
2.
Colin is going to add a house to that one, and then my go. That's a 3.
So 1 to steal from you, 1 to play that. I think I have 1 more go.
Oh, do you? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think you're right.
Which is going to be yet more cash in the bank. I'm ludicrously rich.
Nice, nice. Good work done.
Yep.
Okay, good, good. So lots and lots of monies. I think I need to. Not much going on over here, so not much I can do. Instead, I'll start building up my reserves. I'll throw away this terrible card 1, build up this 2, and possibly add a hotel that has a cash money 3. Over to you.
Oh, yeah, man, I wish I had that.
You wish you had the hotel, yeah, exactly. But I know that you've got a huge amount that you could suddenly charge me over here, so I need to be ready. I don't want you harvesting my properties.
Sure. So we play Fulkin Road just to finish that set, and
Nice.
then I'm going to give you the double hit of. I'm not just going to be charging you rent from this bad boy over here. I'm going to double the rent.
So let's just show that card first a second. So this one says you play it with a rent card, and this is a rent card. Now, I did look this up as well. This actually counts as one of your turns.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be your, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Now what are you choosing? You're choosing this one? Not this one?
No.
Okay, so how much do you charge?
3 plus 3 for the house
Yep.
would be 6, and then double to 12.
So 4. Good thing I placed some extra money in the bank. 8. Let's do 6, 10, and then 12, right?
Yep.
I tell you what, I like the look of this one. I'm going to give you this one.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm still flush with cash, just.
Ludicrously rich.
Okay, are you done, Colin?
Yeah.
Okay. The land baron money grabber.
Yeah, so much money.
Okay.
Charge me some rent, bro.
I don't have enough properties to charge any real scary rent. So instead, I think I will start collating things. So I will
I
play
got 31.
31 monies. That's a lot of monies in Monopoly Deal. That's a very rich man. I'll place this one here for the wild property. I think I will also play this wild property and say it is a station. So as a reminder, you may choose the right wild which one. I'm going to choose station, and I'm going to play another wild property and make it a station.
Ooh,
It's a little
very
wild.
close.
And then not really, because you still need 2 for
This
here.
guy's not quite there.
So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 more cards because they're so big. Whereas this is like a 2 that you can get away with.
True.
So over to you, Colin.
I've only got 2 though. I need 1 more.
Yes.
Not quite what I need. I'm going to play an action card to force a deal.
Okay.
And take your electric company off my
Nice.
hands.
Hang on. You swap. You have to give me something.
You can take the reds.
Thank you.
well spotted.
Sneaky, trying to get away with it.
And then I'll play the mighty wild property. This card
Best card in the game.
as part of any property to create my 3rd street. So these guys only need 2. The electric company, so 1, 2. These guys need 3. 1, 2, 3. These guys need 2. 1, 2.
And Colin wins. Yay!
Even more money in my hand.
Game. Nice. So this guy's a very quick little Monopoly game. It does change
I
slightly.
wonder if we hit the 15 minutes. I'll have to check later.
Good question. It does change a little bit when you've got more players because some of these cards that say rent will players pay rent for all the properties, whereas these big money rent cards only say choose a player. So there's some slight changes in dynamics when you have more players, and there's other cards which we didn't show because we didn't draw them, which I would have played. So when Colin stole my full set, I would have played, say, Just Say No, which would have cancelled that as an action card, and things like this. So there's quite a lot of interactions that can happen, but as you can also see, it can suddenly end like that when he stole my electric company and played this one, and suddenly we're over.
Yeah.
So I really like it, really quick. It's not this same grinding people down and endlessly getting stuck in jail for hours on end. It's a very quick, fun little game. Colin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, 100% agree. I love that, like we said, it's super travel friendly. I like that the mechanics are nice and simple. Like your turn is pretty straightforward what you can do, but there's enough different cards that there's a lot of different things that can happen, and I can imagine most games are quite different in terms of how you play them. Like you're going to have to think about what streets you want to build, what your opponent's doing. I like this idea of like forced deals and stuff, so you don't have these long protracted conversations about a deal. It's like, nope, I'm taking this street, I'm giving you this street. That makes it a lot faster. So I think, yeah, phenomenal little game.
So well done, Monopoly. You have made yourself relevant once again.
Yeah,
so
you are back in the game.
You are back in the game. So welcome to Monopoly, being welcomed back into the game. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, always good to show you guys a game. We try and put them out as frequently as we can. So if you want to hit the subscribe button, you'll get notified if we're going to put out another video. If you have any suggestions about the game or other insights that we didn't cover, drop some comments below. And looking forward to hear from you.
Agreed, and I've got an idea for a couple more that we're going to do after this, so looking forward to those, Colin. Thanks everyone for joining Monopoly Deal, and Colin, congratulations on winning.
Yeah, thanks. See you later, everybody.